Hi everyone, good morning. Told myself that I was going to film something today, so was really just hoping some sudden burst of inspiration would kick me in the rear and I would have something to talk about. Well, last night something happened where I'm in a writer's group with a bunch of my friends, and one of my friends was basically considering giving up on filmmaking. This guy is extremely talented. Every single writer's group he submits pretty much gold. He's absolutely one of the best, if not the best writer in the group. And his confidence was just really sorely lacking, right? And a few things are going on in his life. For example, his job is really, really rough on him. Basically, he's just teaching students every single day, and they're giving him more responsibilities and more hours, and it's just absolutely exhausting to the point where anytime he has free, he just has no time to write. So I was just kind of telling him some of the basic things that I feel like I've learned throughout my filmmaking career, but also just I wanted to encourage him to not give up, and I want to encourage all of you not to give up either. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? For my friend, it seemed like a lot of that will had gone, that belief in himself and his abilities and his ability to create filmmaking as a living, it just seemed to have gone away. He was really unhappy with his last short film, and I understand that fully. Trust me, I do. But the thing about that short film that he made, he was unhappy with it, and I can see why to a certain degree, but at the same time, like, the level of craftsmanship and skill which was on display I feel like was just unmatched by a lot of our peers. We're talking about the cinematography, the directing, the camera movement, the lighting, the editing, the sound design. I mean, all of those things were next level. And to see that talent go to waste would be such a shame. One of the things that I told him was about just Robert Rodriguez's mindset, right? The idea of doing it all yourself, number one, which he has done. But one thing that really I wanted to hit home with him was this idea of committing to a body of work and this idea of don't blink. So Robert Rodriguez talks about how in the 90s it was just really cool to trash on Steven Spielberg. Even though he was making Jurassic Park and all these films and Schindler's List, people were just like, Spielberg, don't really need to take him seriously. He's lame. And he asked Steven Spielberg about this, and Steven said, just don't blink. Meaning that when the criticism comes towards you, if you don't blink, it means just don't let it bother you, and just keep doing what you're doing. Really don't let it come into you at all. And I think that's really important for us as filmmakers is, when we're hit with these waves of criticism or self-doubt or silence, oftentimes it's our literal nervous systems just can't handle it. I heard a different quote even yesterday in the morning from, believe it or not, it's the guy who always rags on logic, Joe Budden. So Joe Budden was reading this quote out loud about how a lot of music artists give up because their nervous systems simply can't handle the pressure of it. And it's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of skill. It really is just the idea of keep going no matter what. And eventually, chances are you will find success, whatever that may mean for you. And it's all these cliches that we always hear about don't give up, keep going. But I really think, in this example of my friend, of somebody who's considering giving up, it really is true in the fact that he's not lacking the skill. He's not lacking the talent. He's not lacking the resources. and he's not really lacking the friends that can help him along the way. It truly does come down to that belief. I heard Ryan Johnson once say the same thing. And he even described a filmmaker saying to him about, yeah, just believe in yourself, don't give up. And Ryan Johnson was like, well, fuck you. Like, that's not real advice. And then 15 years later, he's sitting in front of an audience and he's telling that story. And he's like, well, the sad part is it really does boil down to just don't give up. So I hope that helps. I hope this video helps. The one last thing I forgot to mention was, aside from don't blink, Robert Rodriguez says to commit to a body of work, right? So I have this new short film coming out, actually 2 short films coming out, and regardless of the response, I know that I'm going to be committing to a body of work. Like this short film and these 2 short films, they're not all I have to offer. You know, I'm committing to the long process. I want to show a body of work which really encompasses my abilities and my voice and what I have to say, right? So those 2 things, don't blink and commit to a body of work, I think are really important. Now, the last thing I wanted to touch on was this idea of community. You know, on social media, there's a lot of people talking these days about filmmaking and, you know, how you're going to get ahead and how you're going to get that social media audience or the YouTube audience going. And everything just seems kind of online, right? And that's great. It's great for filmmakers. It's great that we have an audience. It's great that people can see our work from around the world. But at the same time, it doesn't feel spiritually sustaining for me. Meaning, if I can't interact with my audience or my fans in person, they can't really tell me what it means to me, and I don't get to feel that, then I think it's going to be a long, hard road. And at the end of the day, it's going to feel a little bit self-serving to me. So for my new films, Luigi Lookalike and Rescuing Hope, I've had this idea of taking the film on tour. Really just using my network and bringing the movie to those people in my network. I was extremely fortunate to go to this thing called the Italian American Future Leaders Conference, where essentially it's 400 to 500 crazy Italian Americans get together in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we talk about things like cultural preservation, language learning, different Italian feasts that we have throughout the year. How can we keep our community together and alive and our languages alive? And through this program, and over the last 2 years going, I now have this massive network of people who care about me. So I think one piece of advice I would have is really just connect with the people who care about you. You know, I was trying to tell my friend that, you know, we're in this writers group together and his fans are sitting at this table, you know, and if it's enough for him, you know, maybe just consider making films for a few people, for the people who care about him and who love him and who love his work and who really get something out of his work, you know? In my case, my community is that writers group that I have, but also this network of Italian Americans that I have all throughout the country, in New York, New Jersey, Boston, Massachusetts, Chicago, New Orleans, one of the best little Italies in the whole world, Providence, Rhode Island, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. I mean, there's people all throughout this country who are willing to connect with you. But even if it's not in the country, even that just small writers group of people who care and who enjoy his films, you know, if anything, I would say keep making the films for the people that love and support and respect you. Put them out into the world, and I think on a long enough time scale, we can all accomplish our dreams and our filmmaking goals. At that Italian American Future Leaders Conference, I was talking to people 10 years my senior, and they seem, you know, just like me, right? They're just 10 years older. And it does make you think about that time scale and the amount of work that you can put in 10 years and being okay with putting off some sort of rewards, whether that be financial or acclaim, almost like not caring about those rewards on a long enough time scale and doing it for those 10 years, I think you really can get somewhere. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to commit to a 10-year time scale. Like, I'm just going to give myself that time to really not give a shit about finances. Obviously, I'll still have finances, but let's say making a big profit from my films. I'm okay with the next 10 years not doing that, as long as I have a job on the side that I can really work at and still sustain myself financially, right? And I know it's not easy, and if my friend's case is any indication, it's not easy for a lot of people. So those are my thoughts for today. Just want to say thank you for watching. If anybody's watching, really appreciate it. I love and support you all, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.